We're going to call this video points, 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 and more points. So I hope you get the point of this video. Ha ha ha. Here we go. A little bit of review, a little bit of new, but all about points. I'm heading over to the rectangle tool. I'm drawing a rectangle. I'm noticing what the fill color might be. And I'm noticing if it has or doesn't have a stroke color. And those things can also be shown here. But what's more important is when I switch to the solid black arrow selection tool, that allows me to move the object. When I switch to the white arrow, the direct selection tool, you will see that the points become activated. And I'm noticing that 4 points on the edge are solid blue. So if I go like this, it's going to move the whole object. But if I click and activate that point, right, only that point will move. You'll notice that the other points are now hollow. I'd also like to go back to the fact that you are noticing these little corners here. Those are corner options. And if you were to scroll over them, you can round a corner. That's what those are for. I also want to point out that you can turn those off. You can go underneath View, and you can hide the corner widget, and then you won't see that little thing in the corner there. So again, underneath View and underneath Show Corner Widget would show that. So that's what that does, but not to be confused with the point, right? The point is what is active. I am going to pop out the pen tool, and I am going to find some other things in there. So I'm popping out the pen tool, and you might remember that we have the regular pen, and we also have some things we didn't look at before, like adding, we have subtracting, and then we have the anchor point tool. And we used this anchor point tool when we were working together last week, right? We went to the anchor point tool, and we went to that anchor point, and we said, hey, which way is this curve going? No, 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 no. I'd like for it to go this way. And we curved it out. Or we went to a curve over here, and we decided which way we wanted to curve it out. Right? What I'd like to also point out is that anytime I could go to the delete the anchor point tool, and I could delete a point, and I could delete a point, or I could add a point, come in here and add it. I can always reset the point, right, and kind of reshape it. So that's a lot of point stuff to take a look at. Let me open a new document and get a clean artboard going. So I'm just going to open up a new document. I'm going to go to the print dialog setting. I'm just going to choose, regular size just to get myself set up. So again, this could be kind of a helpful bit of information, because as we draw any object at all, and we have a fill color or not a fill color, doesn't matter, that's the attributes of the object, that at any point we can go to any anchor point and we can make changes to that point, right? And if I go like this, that will be the shape that it will take. That's not exactly the shape I'm looking for. So I can double click my point and I can curve it out. One of the things that you might want to know is, well, how do I just do that kind of thing, right? So that goes back to 2 things. So you can control individual handles. The handle emanates from the anchor point. I can grab the handle and I can go in the opposite direction. So I can start to create things like that, and that's super helpful. We have some keyboard shortcuts that we'll talk about in a moment. I'm going to delete this object, and I'd like to take a look this time at the ellipse tool. I'm going to hold down the shift key to draw a circle. You may have seen this in one of the homework videos. I'm going to go over to the eraser tool, and I'm basically going to erase away a whole section. Now, I don't like what I did. I'm going to undo it. So just remembering that I can undo anything that I do. And I'm going to make it a little more intentional. I'm going to try to make it look like a cookie, like a chocolate chip cookie, right? So you can see that I just used the eraser tool to reshape this object. Let's make it look even more like a cookie. I want cookies now, by the way. And you can see here what it did for the points, right? So, I mean, if someone was like, hey, I'd like to draw a chocolate chip cookie, you just saw me do that in about 10 seconds. If someone was like, I really want to draw the chocolate chip cookie with the pen tool, I might click and hold and drag. I might click and hold and drag. Now remember, it's filling in with brown because I forgot to choose no fill, so I can do that now. I can click and hold and drag. And then you're like, well, how would I get the bites of the cookie? And this is where I would need to work with those anchor points. So I can hold down the Option key and I can drag the handle down, and that's going to redirect it. I'm going to curve it, click and curve upwards, hold down the Option key to drag the handle down, click and curve upwards, hold down the Option key to drag the handle down, and click and end it where I started with. Now, I think we both know the problem. The problem is my cookie does not look like much like a cookie. It looks like a bad cookie, even though there is no such thing. So just keeping in mind, I'm looking at my poorly shaped cookie, and I'm remembering that I can go to my white arrow, my direct selection tool, and I can continue to adjust that. Like, I can kind of continue to reshape these things. I can move these things around to try to get like a better shape to the cookie. And whether that means, working with the handles, right? Or whether it means, hey, going back to the anchor point and resetting. So maybe I want to drag this like this, and then I'm going to hold down the Option key, grab the handle, and bring it back. So just sort of remembering that. And you know what? I was better off using that. What's my point? The point is there's lots of points. But the point is also that there's lots of different ways that we can make objects. In order to make my chocolate chip cookie, I'm going to also, of course, add my favorite part, which are the chocolate chips themselves. So just adding some chocolate chips in there, and of course I can rotate the little chocolate chips. I'm going to turn this over to you. I'd like for you to make a chocolate chip cookie for me, and I'd like for you to try it both ways. And way number 1 was with the circle tool and then using the eraser tool. And we looked at the points there. And way number 2 was a little bit wacky. So yours might be wacky also. And that's okay. Just give it a whirl and then eat cookies. Okay, thank you.